Hi, I'm Stefan and I run the LOIS team. Today I'm going to give you a short demonstration of the LOIS IFRS 16 compliance solution. So here we have LOIS, and after the login process, LOIS is a cloud-based product hosted in an AWS environment. It's multi-region, multi-currency and complex hierarchy and security, which is a short way of saying it's a highly configurable system for large global corporates. What you're seeing here in front of you today is very much the landing page for most of the functionality. Left-hand side, you've got your navigation, in the middle, a portfolio overview, and the right-hand side, the workflow and notifications on the lease operational management. To look at this in a bit more detail, we'll actually go into a lease. So the strength of the system is it can have your hierarchy, your currencies, your regions. It can handle all of that kind of key information. And then each lease is saved within the system with this highly configurable amount of information that you can see the key factors for yourselves. Where does it sit in the company? What are the key dates? And that kind of important information. As you'd be aware, obviously the right of use asset is calculated by the present value of the rental payments. So LOIS can handle lease and non-lease components, and it can do monthly, annually, quarterly, yearly, daily, in advance, in arrears to calculate your right of use asset. It can also handle all those adjustments that might be needed to that right of use asset, and that comes together within the system. That information is ultimately collated to create an amort schedule, and once the system has gone through the workflow approval process, that's basically stored in the system as an amort schedule. And each and every change to that lease or modification is also saved as a amort schedule. One of the strengths of LOIS is that everything can be inputted and outputted via Excel. So this amort schedule is quite large, so we'll export it to Excel, and that comes out in a much more user-friendly format, both for people's records and for being able to do analysis and the like. So that's how the data is stored within the system. There's lots of other information, but the basic premise is that information is stored for each and every change within the system. So for any modifications that are required, there's a wizard that enables you to pretty much do automatic calculations on any form of modification, which is a very simple wizard, collecting modification date, reporting rate, and then effectively adding rental periods or changing rental periods to get the modification you require. So that's modifications, and those are all fully automated, both with the journals and the like. And how that works is basically for each modification change, gives a reason, and then creates a actual amort schedule, which is downloadable to Excel. So it's very comprehensive functionality. The other key part of the system, from I guess a asset management point of view, is that the lease has a one-to-many relationship with assets. So in this instance, we've got a property with 3 floors, and that can be actually cross-charged to different cost centers. And likewise, each and every field within this area can be actually configured to what users need to see within the system. The other great thing about the system is that the act of getting the information within the system is very simple as well, and that an upload can be simply used to upload directly into the system via Excel. So that's kind of how a lease sits within the system, and you've got the automation on the modifications required with that lease. The next kind of key point is around the functionality for the month-to-month of your system, and there's a full reporting suite, as you'd imagine, within the system, with the most popular reports being around those IFRS 16 parameters that can be run at any level dependent upon security. So for today, we will have a quick look at the IFRS 16 report and a fictional transition date, and run at the top of my operational hierarchy. It handles all lease currencies and can also do functional and presentation currency, which is important for large corporates. So what that's doing is that's aggregating all those amorts to give me my overview and disclosures required under IFRS 16 in one easy format. So once again, it all comes out in Excel, and you'll see in the summary, we've got all the disclosures required under IFRS 16. So my net asset, my net liability, my income statement, it can handle exempt leases as well, my cash flow and my notes. But what's very powerful about this report is that each of these fields actually goes back to the disaggregated information of each and every lease, depending upon what level that you've run it at. So the asset, the liability, dismantling, general information, exempt leases, COVID accounting, and the summary. So a very strong report, and again, because it's in Excel, can easily be manipulated. Likewise, there's a range of reports in here for journals and the like, and it can also do IAS 17. There's also a range of more operational reports, which are done for using the kind of running the business and running those leases and the assets. We won't go through those all today in the interest of time. And the final piece of the reporting is the auditing. So anything that takes place within the LOIS system is auditable, from new leases to modifications to changing general ledger codes and the like. So that's the reporting. The final part of the system that we want to quickly go through today is very much around the general ledger, which ties it all together. So just like your ERP, we have a ledger, and the idea of that is that the ledger has transaction reporting periods, which is locked down every month to coincide with your ERP close and can actually talk to your ERP. The setup is relatively easy, in that we map in the journals to your chart of account, and you can have multiple ledgers which can handle multiple regions or currencies or ERPs depending on your requirements. And then each month the transactions are processed through the system. The period is closed and locked down. Why this is important is twofold, is mainly around the complexity of IFRS 16 and historical information. And in that we mean by the fact that with leases and modification dates, often information will come back that has happened in the past, and obviously you do not want your general ledger changing. What LOIS will actually do is, within this processing part of your journals and your output files, it will actually do your catch-up journals in the most current period, so that the month end is not a large reconciliation process, but rather an automated process. And again, the file can come out as a flat file in an Excel-like format, and all the fields in here again can be configured to your ERP. So effectively, LOIS becomes an extension for your lease accounting directly into your ERP. Obviously, there's lots more functionality within the system, but we just wanted to hit the key points today so that you'd have a good overview of the system, and obviously open to questions if need be. Thank you very much.